guys, welcome back. I'm Ted.
I'm Alex.
And today we want to talk about the protest that's happening in Melbourne. Have you heard much about it?
I've heard a little bit, not as much as you probably have, but
Have you seen the videos?
I have seen the pictures and the videos. It looks pretty wild.
2-week lockdown on the construction over there. So they're protesting on that. And actually prior to that, they had a protest about the tea rooms being shut down.
No smoko rooms. That you cannot take that away from building industry. Smoko room is what you look forward to every day, especially if they've got a vending machine in there.
A little bit. When you see the videos, the rioting, it's always interesting because the union HQ got pretty much
That
destroyed.
got destroyed. That's one of the biggest videos I saw. I saw tear gas and like cop cars being flipped and trashed and looked pretty hectic down there.
I think they're saying, well, the union like president and stuff, they're trying to say that they weren't actually union members. They're far right extremists, anti-vaxxers, anti-lockdown protesters.
People that are annoyed with the situation.
Yeah, apparently they're like, there's a calls to arm on like those different social media apps like Discord, Facebook, stuff like that. They're trying to go down there, and I saw
probably would have been big.
Yeah,
like you see it all the time. People make big Facebook pages. I remember when that big Area 51 conspiracy thing. Then someone made a Facebook meet at Area 51, and there was like millions of people like going on Facebook to go storm Area 51.
I think it's hilarious. But I believe it. I would not be surprised. But at the same time, I highly doubt there wasn't any construction worker that's doing a little bit of violence. Like, I get it. You're angry. Of course you're angry. The city's locked down. Your industry is shut down for 2 weeks. Restrictions been put in.
Yeah.
These guys have to wear a face mask while working. And it doesn't sound much, but a lot of these guys are doing back-breaking work. So
it's hard enough just when you're like just trying to live your day-to-day life wearing a mask. Going to the shops, like for me, my mustache and beard gets so flippin' sweaty when I have to put a face mask on. So you imagine working out in the sun, busting your hump. Be pretty annoying, uncomfortable. That's the biggest issue with them. They're uncomfortable. They're not like causing damage, but they are uncomfortable to wear.
It's awkward. It is awkward. It's very difficult. And it's funny because you don't have to wear a face mask while you're exercising. But these guys are expected to wear a face mask while working.
Yeah, like their heart rate will be up. So technically they're exercising.
Yeah, it's very hard work that they do. But then now they're expected to get a vaccine if they want to work.
Yeah.
So your city's shut down, your industry's locked down,
and if you want to keep your job, you need to get the jab.
And if you feel strongly about it and you don't want to get it done, what's your option?
Yeah, well, there isn't any. Find another job.
For me, it's not a problem. Obviously, I already got the vaccine. I'll get it again, especially means if your work's,
Yeah, if it makes life easier and better, I can understand why people will get it. But there's people, that have strong opinions on why they don't want it, which is fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. So it's pretty rough saying if you want to work, you have to do what we say if you want to keep your job when they're not even doing the work. It's the workers doing the work.
Well, as like the people implementing the laws and policies and stuff, they're obviously not doing the work, but they're trying to do the best they can.
They're doing work, but they're not doing that work.
So they're applying rules that affect other people. Now I completely understand that they're trying to apply the rules that benefit the most amount of people, and I get that you can never put laws or restrictions in that will benefit everyone. Someone's always going to be disadvantaged. Always. It makes sense.
That's just how it goes.
But then what are these guys what are they meant to do?
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
Like protesting
makes sense. A job. Yeah, the
protesting makes sense. The violence, I don't know, a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a bit overkill. Just goes. It's not achieving what they're after. when they go and do stuff like that. Like I can see why it's so easy to get into that because they would be real highly strung with everything happening down there, and that's just the cherry on top, you know.
How many of them do you reckon that are actively involved in the violence and the destruction care?
Probably not many. I reckon a high percentage.
Apparently, one of the articles I was reading, there were people there giving out high vis jackets
Yeah, right.
to make it look like they were eating. Yeah. So I don't know if that's true. That's just something I read in one of the articles. Yeah. But
there's always going to be the extremists and like the actors and stuff that just go overboard. But I mean that's what they do. So
I always find protests they're interesting because one, it highlights a segment of the population that's suffering for whatever reason, and then these people that started usually care tremendously and it affects them. Okay? So that's one thing. But then when it escalates to violence, I'm intrigued by why the violence occurs, what's the outcome they want, and then I'm also intrigued by people's reaction to the violence.
I just think like the violence, like what would the way I would imagine it would happen is there's just a couple of really highly strung people and they're just very emotional and something just triggers, just a little snap and they're just like, this is or they've protested 300 times in their life and nothing's happened. They're like, well, we're gonna have to make a scene to get some serious attention, so they go and launch a brick through a window or something like that. So that could be one way. I actually don't know, but that makes sense to me.
I think the violence is very justified. Like not violence. I think the emotions and the reaction is justified. I think what's interesting is that people's reaction to it kind of shows people's prejudice. Because you see, it happens all the time. Protests everywhere. There's the Freedom Rally that's happening all throughout Australia. There's pretty much one in every country, almost every other weekend, for any other thing that's happening.
Yeah, well, you look at, Australia Day. There's the protest marches every year. People, which is fine, they're fully entitled to do that. So, that's an annual thing that happens without fail. But yeah, you have the Black Lives Matter when George Floyd passed away. That one really turned up, and blew up, went massive. So there is a lot.
I think about people's reaction to it. Right, people feel strongly. Not really about the subject matter or what they're protesting about, but people from the outside feel strongly about how people react. I think that's a little showing of people's prejudice itself. I think the fact that you can relate and that we're all currently in some form of restrictions because of COVID, I think we have a lot more sympathy for these guys. Whether or not we agree with the extreme actions of
it still sucks regardless what's going on down there. It's pretty rough.
But when we see someone else, like whether it's in America, whether it's like South America, in Europe, there's a lot of protests going on everywhere. I think a natural tendency is to disconnect from them because we don't necessarily go through what they're going through, and then you look at them as if they're
carrying on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like that's I
understand that.
A very normal reaction that someone would have to someone that they don't feel connected to or don't have any association with.
Yeah.
And I think...
And that makes sense.
But just the nature of someone protesting. Like, people aren't going to wait... Oh, that's not true. Some people, or I'd say majority of people, aren't going to waste their own time protesting against something that doesn't matter. Like, clearly this affects their lives.
Yeah.
Their work, their ability to feed their kids, their industry. Now they're concerned about their health. Whether or not that fear is real, that's a different debate. These people are concerned, and I think it falls on the government, which don't seem to be. I don't know.
I think it got so hectic and out of control as well because it was so sudden.
Yep.
It was just bang, 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 and it's just like we've had no time to prepare for this. If we had known that this was coming 6 months ago, we could have put money away, to provide for that 2 weeks that we can't work and potentially longer if we, don't want to get the vaccine. People could have made steps to trying to have like something in place to handle the situation, but because it was just boom, boom, boom.
I don't know if they could, honestly. Melbourne's so, man, they've been hit so hard for so long.
But if you knew that, say on September 20 or whatever, that your industry is going to shut for 2 weeks, if you knew that 3 months prior, there's a big majority of people that would want to start getting a plan in place, because knowing that it's like if you know you're going on holidays at the end of the year, you obviously want to put money away to spend on your holidays. So it's the same. It's not like I'm not comparing holidays and what they're going through, the same thing, but they're preparing for something they know is going to happen. So if they had, and you can't like prepare for this stuff, but that's why it's so hectic, because it's so sudden and pop, pop, pop. Like they probably could have prepared for the vaccine part of it, like if the vaccine.
Well, I think that's the main problem.
Can't work, because if they had known that was going to be a thing 3 months ago, they would have been, obviously people would have been looking for other work or trying to find some solution.
You think so? I think it's the same problem
for sure. But I personally, like, I've got a family and whatnot. If I knew that I was going to lose my job because, like, I'm not going to get the vaccine, but if I knew I was going to lose my job because I'm not going to have the vaccine, I would 100% be looking everywhere for new work to just make sure that I've got that stability and like enough to provide.
I get you.
100%.
But think about it. Okay, so we're slightly different. We do have restrictions, but it's not as bad as over there.
No.
A lot of those people can't leave home. They've got like, I think they're allowed to go out of the house.
But everything's online these days. You can literally go on to Seek or one of those job websites and apply for 50 jobs.
You make it sound a lot easier.
Well, it's not hard to apply for a job online.
It's not hard to apply. Getting it is a different.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying, but I'm saying I'm not guaranteed I'm going to get a job, but at least I'm putting things out there, trying to make an effort to have some sort of stability and control, knowing that I would be losing my job in 3 months' time or whatever. So, I don't know, I think it's pretty safe to say if you've got preparation for something, the situation's better. So regardless of what it is, there was no preparation for this, it was just...
I get what...
Bang, bang, bang.
I get what you're trying to say.
I think that's why it's gone a little bit crazy as well. And I think, man, Victoria's just had enough of everything too. Like, they've had a rough trot for the last couple of years. So that's, straws were going to snap.
I think that's a major factor.
Mm.
If your city's locked down for so long,
Well, it's not getting better. It's like it's almost getting worse again. So... They said it was real bad, and they sort of got it like stabilised, and now it's just getting nuts again. So it's it would be so annoying. Like I can fully understand. It would be frustrating as hell.
I get frustrated here.
I know. And we have to lock down for 3 days at a time when we have to do it usually. So
yeah. And people don't realise how stressful it is.
Especially if you're a business owner too.
Oh man, we shut down for a couple of months, and then we're back.
And it's like by the time you get back into swing, there's another lockdown again. It's just like it's like you get dunked underwater and you just get your head up just to get a quick breath, and someone just puts you back under again, and it's like far out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. It would be brutal down. I mean, I can't speak on behalf of people from Victoria because I'm not down there, but I definitely feel for them. It would suck. It would, and like even New South Wales. I know it does affect us, but it's not directly causing any issues to me, but it'd be rough.
I think the more it affects you, the more of a feeling you're going to have.
Mm.
And
it affects the nation as a whole, but that's a given.
It does, but different parts of the nation are affected differently.
Yeah.
I just think sometimes we get in the habit of thinking, yeah, you're suffering, but it's not as bad as this other person. But suffering is still suffering.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
I'm bad for that.
Yeah.
Like when I first got my health issues and stuff, I just thought, I'm not as bad as this person, so I'm not allowed to be upset or suffer, be angry or whatever. So I am really bad for that. I always just put other people's issues, and just think, oh, that's way worse than me, so I just got to zip my mouth. But you're right, like it's still...
Suffering's still suffering.
It's still suffering.
It's like if you go without eating your lunch or breakfast, whatever, and then you're hungry, and someone else tells you, oh, you're not really hungry, there's other people...
Kids in Africa are starving,
You're still hungry. Doesn't change the fact that, someone else is suffering maybe more, but you're still...
You're still hungry.
And I feel like that's the one thing the government's not really doing. They're kind of looking at big picture and neglecting a lot of people suffering in the day-to-day activities.
Yeah.
Like being locked up in your house. You see a lot of reports, people are saying
that's really bad.
that's
for some people,
terrible.
because some people, their household is the danger zone.
Yeah.
Getting out to school or getting out to work
That's
is their
one,
safe
yeah.
place. So when you get, that's a big thing. I've actually had a lot of discussions with people about, like when the schools shut down for a while up here, a lot of kids are probably coming from like domestic violent homes and, homes that are not right for a child, and they're just fanging to get to school because they're like, oh, I've got 8 hours of being safe, not having to watch, and think, oh, if I made a mistake, am I going to get whatever? So, and like same as an adult,
That's
there'll be
it.
relationships that aren't functional, and each spouse will be thinking, I can't wait to get to work just to have a break. And then when you can't do that and you got to get stuck at your home for 3 weeks, that can be a ticking time bomb.
That's if you have like a bad household. If you have a good household,
not every household's like that.
Even in a healthy household, you still got depression that kicks in.
Yeah.
When you're stuck inside the house,
yeah,
like mental health is a giant issue.
I hate being cooped up. I can't stand it.
Yeah, it's terrible for your health.
And I've got a great household, but I like being out in the outdoors. I like being out around people.
Sunlight, fresh air.
Fresh air. I hate being cooped up.
Yeah.
So
it's
even when I'm sick, I just want to get out.
And I get really annoyed when I see like news articles and stuff like it's not that bad. It's like a 2-week holiday at home. Like that's not good for a lot of people.
It's not a holiday. Yeah.
A lot of people are struggling. Like
it'd be safe to say 50% are not wanting to stay at home. Like 50% of the country.
So I do a lot of like those mental health workshops and stuff. The stats are terrifying. It's like 1 in 6 females has a mental health condition. I think it's 1 in 8 or 1 in 10 guys also suffer. That's a very large portion of.
Well, you think about how many people you know. So
Yes. That's
100 people. 10 of them are struggling.
Yeah, and it affects everyone in that household as well. So when they're stuck at home, they can't go out, they can't get fresh air, can't exercise, they can't socialise, can't do the activities that they need.
It's just glim.
It's very rough. And even so, just saying, oh, it's only a 2-week lockdown, 2 weeks shut in, or a week, that's rough. A lot of these people are struggling day by day.
Yeah, can't even handle a day at home.
And then you add on top of that work, family, worried about whether or not you can feed your kids. That's a lot of issues that compound. And I think that we, as a whole, we don't really consider that other people are suffering like on multiple levels, and we forget that.
Yeah.
And I think when I saw the,
which is normal, like we're only humans. So.
Yeah, it's normal. But when I saw the riots, every time I see the riots, when I see the American ones, the French, Italians, or South America, there's constant riots. When I look at them, like, they must be suffering to go out to this extreme
and be doing it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There must be some serious issues
on.
that the government isn't
handling.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Do I think the government can do a good job every time? No. Do I think the issue is that they're not trying? Not necessarily. I think it's just sometimes they don't see some of the issues that are concerning them. Or
It might not be big enough in their eyes, maybe. Like, I don't know, I can't speak on behalf of the government, but...
Don't get me wrong, if I was in their position, I would probably want...
to take in.
I think I would probably want them to get the vaccine, just because I saw some of the stats. I think about, it's like 300, 350 people in the construction industry got COVID.
Yeah.
That's a significant part in one city.
Yeah.
And then if you're all working together, unvaccinated, no mask, there's a high chance that's going to spread.
Yeah.
So I get that. So it's not an easy topic to tackle.
But in saying that, like, the vaccine doesn't keep you from getting COVID.
No, it doesn't. It just gives you a better chance of fighting it.
Yeah.
So it's hard.
It's a catch-22.
It is.
But that's like almost everything in life, so...
Yeah. Guys, if you live in Melbourne, let us know what your thoughts are. How you guys dealing with everything. Be curious to know.
I've got a lot of mates that live down in
Yeah.
Vicky, and actually one of the guys I work with, his family live down there, so I might have a chat with him.
I'm curious if the people that weren't part of the protest, if they're for the protest or if they're
Just
upset
join
about it.
Yeah.
So
There's a lot of people too just join in. They're just like,
they do. They like the violence.
it's just something to do.
People go there for violence all the time.
Yeah.
Like, not even necessarily they're like...
Maybe a chance of getting on TV as well. Who knows?
That's a terrible idea. Go to
No,
prison.
no, but no. I mean, I'm not saying they were going to go and peg a rock through a window, but they might just get caught in the camera backdrop on a protest, just marching along and think, I'm on TV, That's surely that would be a thing that goes through people's minds, surely.
I've seen plenty of reviews, it does happen. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
But I'm curious if, the people living there are upset that these people are out protesting, which is more likely going to cause an extended period of lockdowns. Or if you're also fed up and wish you were
there. Well, it happened in Brisbane. I mean, I'm not saying that protest caused a lockdown, but whatever the protest was a while ago, then we had that lockdown not long after it.
I think it was like Freedom March.
There's always I can understand why people do it, but I can see the issues it's going to cause as well. So
man, the frustration is real.
Yeah, for sure. Cool.
Guys, leave your thoughts. We'd like to know. As always, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe.
Turn on your notifications.
See you next time.
See you next time.